The Boss Island Championship is in action this weekend at the Kirkistown circuit, and it's sure to be one of the highlights of the weekend. Some of the fastest and loudest cars racing here this weekend, about to take the track for their first of two races. On pole position, we've got Paul O'Connell in the stunning 3.5 litre Nissan-powered World Series by Renault car. That is one of just several spectacular cars set to entertain us on the track. Well, an eclectic mix of cars then lining up on the grid here ahead of our first race of the day. Paul O'Connell has Sam Mansfield's Radical alongside, ahead of Eamon Matheson and Fergus Faherty. Then Barry Rabbit and Michael Roach, John Stewart and Donald Griffin, whilst the 2 litre Reynard of Graham Jennings runs out the order. Well, the general ethos behind the Boss Island Championship is that if you have a sports car or a single-seater, then you can come and race it here, and that really is about as picky as they get. This is more or less a run what you brung championship, and it is about to burst into life, but not for everybody. A bad start made by Sam Mansfield. We've had no start made at all by Sam Mansfield. The Radical is stuck on the outside of row 1, going absolutely nowhere. It will be the World Series by Nissan car of Connell that leads the way. Barry Rabbit coming around the outside there, trying to take second place away from Eamon Matheson, and he will succeed in doing so. That 2 litre Formula Renault car may not be the strongest in a straight line, but through the corners it is probably the fastest car here, and Barry is a very committed driver indeed, and he'll be keen to try and get himself ahead here of O'Connell if he can. Through the chicane they go, back down the back straight, and a great exit there for Rabbit, but he hasn't got the horsepower. He might have been about to lose second place there as well. This is Graham Jennings, meanwhile, in the Reynard, started at the back of the grid. Sadly, he's still pretty much at the back, only Sam Mansfield behind him. Sam hopefully he's been able to get going though, because otherwise he's going to be stranded on the start-finish line. Into the lead though, we've had a lead change. It's Eamon Matheson that's gone through. O'Connell is down to second place then, and Barry Rabbit in third position. Further back there is Mansfield, so Mansfield has got going. He's on the tail now of Graham Jennings and should be able to get through pretty quickly. The car looks and sounds absolutely stunning though, and unfortunately Graham Jennings' 2 litre Reynard is no match for it. It's often the case with this very much a wide and varied entry for Boss Island. There will be certain speed differentials between the cars, but that, particularly front of the field, tends to produce some pretty fascinating racing. So you've got the number 51 car, Eamon Matheson then, in one of the sports prototype style machines, being chased by 3 of the single-seaters. The World Series by Nissan car of Paul O'Connell in second position, who's on the verge of wrapping up the Boss Island Championship this weekend as well, and a couple of solid podium finishes should be enough for him to achieve that. They flash across the start-finish line. Rabbit dropping back a little way in third position now as they race towards the first corner once again. Pretty debtor's dip, and then down into the second turn, which is through Colonial. It's very easy to make a mistake through that section, but pretty much single file through there. Many overtaking opportunities through the middle part of the lap. By far and away the best place to try and make an overtake is into the hairpin at the end of the back straight, and that's where we'll see most of the overtaking attempts being made, I think. Down onto that part of the circuit then goes the race leader, Eamon Matheson, who in qualifying was only third and was just over 3/4 of a second behind Paul O'Connell, but Paul, having had made a good initial start to the race, is now sort of starting to slip down a little way. He's still in second place, but doesn't at the moment seem able to live with the race leader. There goes the third place man, Barry Rabbit, and then the Formula 3 machine behind. That looks as though Barry Rabbit is going to be under some pressure here before too much longer for his third position. That is Fergus Faherty, I think, that's chasing him down in the 111 car, and then another Formula 3 chassis behind, and that's Michael Roach in the 1.3 litre turbocharged Dallara, the 1999 spec Formula 3 car, which is starting to make this a 3-way fight now for third place. Out of the right-hander they go, through Fisherman's into the John Crossley chicane. Good exit through there for Faherty. He's going to try and get in the slipstream now of Barry Rabbit as they go down the back straight. Barry said he's made some adjustments to the front wing on that car to try and get some more straight line speed, and it was really buying him quite a lot of extra lap time. But is it going to be enough to keep that Formula 3 behind? The Renault is the slightly newer of the cars, I'd imagine, but maybe a little bit quicker in a straight line. It should be a fascinating battle, and there aren't that many places in the world, like we're in the UK, that you get to see cars of such variety going wheel to wheel. Particularly look at the battle at the front of the field. All that is drama there, though, is it, for the number 46 machine, Michael Roach. Yes, that's definitely drama. That car is catching fire and it's dropping fluid on the track as well. He needs to get that car off the road, which thankfully he's doing. And already, I think, unbuckling the seatbelts in quite a hurry, understandably, to get out of that car. That's a shame, because it looks as though he might have been on for potentially a podium, certainly a top 5. This race appears to be done. Race leaders then, down the back straight, still with the order being Matheson ahead of O'Connell. There is Matheson, but the gap has come down now. Paul O'Connell starting to find some more speed, has a good exit from the final hairpin there, tries to get in the toe down the pit straight, but actually it is the number 51 car that is a bit quicker, and in a straight line that is, at least, with more downforce on the much more modern Nissan is that little bit better through the corners, but Paul O'Connell didn't really fancy making a do-or-die move there. The yellow flags out of that part of the circuit as well, as a result of the Michael Roach car that's still being dealt with by the marshals on the inside of that corner. There's also, as I said, I think a bit of fluid down there. Paul O'Connell now starting to get into his stride. It looks like it's a matter of when, not if, he gets past the 51 machine. But that car is that little bit quicker in a straight line, and Barry Rabbit is actually catching them again now as well in 3rd position. So Barry in a podium spot as it is, but actually if they start really tripping over each other, he could be able to catch them, because he's already quicker than they are through the corners. If they start delaying each other even further, then his advantage gets even greater through the twisty bits. Jennings hands out to the cockpit, not because he's got a problem, he's trying to stay out of their way. In fact, it almost did look like he was pulling off the road with a problem, but he could see Barry Rabbit coming as well, I think. And there goes Barry. Somewhere around here is Fergus Faherty as well. So doing a good job there, Graham Jennings, to stay out of everybody's way. The leaders, though, head into the second corner again, and the top 3 now really starting to gather together here. Barry Rabbit looks to have good pace in this middle portion of the race. It's only a 15-minute plus 1 lap race, so about a 16-minute race in total. So we're already getting on for half race distance. Time to get a move on here, really, and Barry Rabbit certainly senses that. Look at how much more speed he takes through the chicane than Paul O'Connell, but O'Connell then just opens up the taps on that magnificent machine and is able to pull clear down the back straight. But the World Series by Nissan car has its strengths, but then it also seems to have its weaknesses, which appears to be that middle sector. Have it getting away from Faherty slightly now as well in their private battle for 3rd. That's the line they flash past the start-finish line onto another lap, and the trouble here for O'Connell. Oh, hang on, he's going around the outside for the race lead from an awfully long way back. This is a really brave place to make a move, and he's done it. Paul O'Connell, I was about to say that every time he gets close enough to overtake, that seems to be when the 51 machine of Matheson is able to put its foot down and pull away, but that was a really surprising move for O'Connell, but it certainly surprised me anyway, and it appears to have surprised Eamon Matheson. So O'Connell is through then, he's into the race lead, Matheson down to 2nd. Now, based on what we've seen over the last few laps, I'm not sure he'll have much of an opportunity to fight back again. This will be his best opportunity to do so, with the braking for the hairpin. But he's not close enough, and I think now O'Connell should be able to stretch his legs and pull clear. O'Connell is looking for the outright lap record as well, but in qualifying he was a couple of seconds away from that. So it doesn't look as though he's going to be able to get down to the sort of tyres that we've seen in the past. Philip Shields is the outright lap record holder here in the 4-litre Dallara GP2 car. Years ago that was now. He did a lap time of 50.782. And at the moment, the fastest lap in this race is in the 53s, so it doesn't look as though Paul O'Connell is quite going to be able to get down to that sort of pace, but now he's in clean air, he might be able to, I suppose. Through the chicane, doesn't use too much of the curb, and you compare his line through there to that of the likes of Barry Rabbit in the Formula Renault further back, you can see that's where Barry is gaining his time through the corners. Number 17, Radical, flashes through. 0.7 litre engine in that Radical, certainly not the engine that Radical supplied it with, but Sam Mansfield is using it to good effect here. Qualified on the front row of the grid, he'll be ruining that bad start, but he's starting to make some forward progress now up the order, and has got a chance of getting on the podium. He's in 5th place at the moment. Fergus Faherty is in front of him, and then Barry Rabbit in 3rd, so it may be that Mansfield is able to catch them before the end of the race. Certainly appears to have the speed to do so. That Radical really is the best of both worlds. It's mighty quick in a straight line, but it's also fairly lightweight, low centre of gravity, and a good amount of downforce, so it can carry some good mid-corner speed as well. Just a bit too much speed through the chicane there, though, and just got a bit sideways on the apex. But in a flash, he's at the end of the back straight and already coming through onto another lap. The amount of power that car's got, and it weighs about as much as a shoebox, so it's so twitchy in acceleration, but if he gets to grips with it, it's very effective indeed. Through Detter's dip he goes, that nearly flat-out left-hander at the start of the lap. For some of the other categories racing here this weekend, it will be a flat-out corner, but I imagine most of these drivers are having, let's say, a comfort lift as they turn into that turn, maybe even a bit of a dab on the brakes. Who can blame them? It's an unforgiving circuit, this, not a huge amount of runoff area. And these are some of the fastest cars that race at the Kirkistown circuit here in Northern Ireland. Thrilling the spectators around the circuit, no doubt about it. Sideways again for Mansfield, he's on the ragged edge here as he heads out onto the back straight. He is catching those two, you can see there, that's Fahety in front of him. Second place man there goes through. Eamon Matheson onto another lap, then Barry Rabbit, then Fahety, who's closing back in on him actually as well. So as the Radical of Mansfield is catching these two, they're also actually getting themselves closer together. There's Fergus then, fourth position at the moment. And on the previous lap was a few tenths quicker than Barry Rabbit, who there turns his way through the right-hander. Barry, a former racer in the one-make Fiat Abarth Championship, ran a few years ago. Successful racer in that as well. Quick and experienced driver is Barry. He's actually catching Matheson, I'd say, on this lap as well. And Eamon Matheson is quite home and dry in second place, so whilst they're all losing time now, hand over fist to Paul O'Connell, it does look as though we could have everyone grouping together here for second, third, fourth and fifth, which would give us a good grandstand finish. Watch the start finish line again, down to turn number one. Just sit here and listen to these cars coming by all day long. Fantastic stuff. Through the first corner they go then. Barry Rabbit's car bottoming out over the bumps into Colonial. That's a very, very bumpy part of the circuit. You don't realise that necessarily until you actually have a drive or a walk around that part of the track. It's very bumpy, particularly into that braking zone, and these are the cars that in particular will feel those bumps. This gap is definitely coming down though fairly rapidly as well, as they turn into the chicane and back onto the back straight again. Barry Rabbit under severe pressure now from Fahety, who's in the tow and might be able to have a bit of a go at him here into the hairpin. This is going to be close now for what is third place. Onto the brakes to the slowest corner on the track, and Fergus closing right in. Is he going to be able to have a go? This is going to be a fascinating second half of the race now. Start finish line they go again into the first corner, and Fergus closer than ever now as they go into the right-hander, and he has a little peek up the inside, but Barry Rabbit carries the speed into the corner, just about does enough to fend him off. They head now back towards the John Crossley chicane again. Barry Rabbit needs a really good exit from here, because this has been the part of the circuit where he has been strong, but Faherty's going to get another tow, and Barry was a bit wide there actually as he went out onto the back straight. Into the braking zone again. Rabbit just about keeping Faherty at arm's length here, but it's getting mighty close. On the pit straight again, down to the first corner. Running out of time now though is Fergus, because there's a huge amount of it left in this race. 15 minutes plus one lap, as I said. They get several laps in though over the course of that time. They're going to be getting on for 20 laps, such is the very rapid pace being shown by Paul O'Connell out in front. This is the fight for third that's keeping everyone entertained at the moment. Fergus Fahety and Barry Rabbit opposite way round, and they are definitely being caught here by Sam Mansfield now. The more they trip over each other, the closer Sam Mansfield gets. Chicane over the curbs through the right, fling it through the left, and they're actually spurring each other on here, and they continue to lap a bit quicker than Eamon Matheson in front. So I do think we'll have four cars in pretty close proximity here before the end of the race. Mansfield's going to be with them probably by the end of the lap with the straight line speed advantage that he has, and once he gets there he should be able to breeze past them fairly easily, which is probably why Faherty's got this extra incentive now to get past Barry Rabbit, try and get a buffer between himself and the rapid Radical behind. Like an orange warning flag going out to Barry Rabbit as well for some sort of mechanical issue he may not be aware of. One issue he is aware of though is that Formula 3 car filling his mirrors, which has another peak to the inside into Colonial. Rabbit turns in ahead, and then he knows that it's single file through this sequence. Mansfield then becoming an ever-present threat behind them as well. He's sliding the Radical through Fisherman's. into the Crossley chicane. Into the closing stages of this race. There's a back marker ahead as well, which could get interesting, so that might just open up an opportunity here for some positions to change, and Mansfield's almost with them now. In fact, I think he might be going up the inside here into the hairpin. Is he close enough? No, Faculty should hang on to 4th place for now. Takes a wide line into the hairpin, tight line out. 3 cars should throw a handkerchief over the lots of them as they flash back across the start-finish line. Keep an eye on the straight line speed of Mansfield's Radical. I don't think the pit straight is going to be quite long enough for him to get alongside, but so out of the first corner they go then, this back marker in front, and look at how close they all are, Rabbit, Faherty and Mansfield. And Mansfield has a look at the inside into Colonial, but doesn't seem quite as confident under braking as the 2 single-seaters, the lighter single-seaters in front of him. A bit more weight to that Radical, so it slides around a bit more through the corners. It's not quite as planted, but definitely has the advantage in a straight line. Get a great exit from Fisherman's though, and so he's going to have to try and... Oh, he really sent it into the chicane, completely out of shape. And now things are about to get quite busy because there is traffic in front. They're going to have to negotiate this slower car off the run into the hairpin. Harry Rabbit will be the first on the scene. He goes for the inside line, and Mansfield goes to the inside of Faherty for 4th position. How did that one work out? Rabbit comes through, still in 3rd. Who's in 4th? It is Mansfield. He's gone through. So Sam Mansfield has now prized the door open, got into 4th place just in time, because we're going on to the final lap of the race now. Does he have time then to catch Barry Rabbit for 3rd, I wonder? We'll find out in a minute. For now though, Paul O'Connell is already at the chicane for the final time. He's backed the pace right off now in these final couple of laps, not really under any pressure from anyone behind. Eamon Matheson's getting on for 10 seconds behind him, as for the final time Paul O'Connell comes into the final hairpin, and the World Series by Nissan machine is going to come home a race winner. And this will take him one step closer to the championship title as well. Out of the hairpin he comes then to the start-finish line, and Paul O'Connell wins race number 1 for the Boss Island Championship here at Kirkistown. And then the wait begins for Eamon Matheson, hopefully to come home in 2nd place. Here comes the green machine. The big question though is who will be 3rd on the podium with them. Will it be Barry Rabbit or Sam Mansfield? It's Rabbit by almost a second actually over Mansfield in 4th, and Faherty in 5th. A great drive though from Paul O'Connell. Really had to work for it in the early stages, but he takes the victory from Matheson and Rabbit on the podium. Mansfield and Faherty round out the top 5, with John Stewart in 6th position, the last of the finishers in the end, after what was a bruising race. Well, Paul, what a car, what a race. That was a brilliant drive. This place, it must focus the mind in that thing.
It certainly does, Andy. Yeah, it's quick up here. It's quick through Debtors. You know, taking Debtors flat and 6th. That's good fun. Seeing all the shift lights on and down the back straight or the front straight there was tricky. And unfortunately, we had a good bit of oil on the track from the race previous. It was a car combusted or became an external combustion engine, it appears. So we had to take some interesting lines here and there. And yeah, it was a good race. Brilliant battle with Eamon Matheson in the green surface wear missile, we call it over here. It's an insane car. This is its home, like, it's brilliant. So great win, yeah, delighted. Huge thanks to the guys come down and help me out and keep the car running and stuff. But that thing is just best thing ever. Like, it's brilliant. Best car I've ever seen or heard about.
It's great to see these cars on track, but even better, they get raced properly, don't they? I mean, that was, as you said, a fantastic battle. Yeah. Talk us through that battle and how you sort of made the decisive move.
Yeah, so chasing Eamon, I've been in battle with Eamon for a couple of years now in Boss Ireland, and Eamon is unbelievably committed, no question about it. He's unbelievably quick in the straights, and you know, he goes as quick around the corner as he can in that thing, but that's the strong point of this car, is better in corners and better under braking. So it was following Eamon, you know, hoping he might make a mistake. He didn't make a mistake, so we just crazy lunge out the outside of Colonial. Pretty much outbrake myself, if truth was told, on a patch of oil, and ended up just outside Eamon. Just managed to turn it and just snuck ahead of him in the following left-hander, and just managed to build enough of a gap to get away from him from the next straight. Like when you're worried about a car passing you in the straight, when you're driving a car like this, you know you're up against a seriously fast machine, because that thing just breezes past me on a straight, and like, we're doing 160 odd miles an hour here, and it's insane. It's brilliant, great fun. Certainly very adrenaline pumping, all right, yeah, no question about it.
For us watching as well, I think we're all looking forward to race 2. What are your thoughts for that one?
Yeah, race 2, we have a few different things to try. We want to see what kind of time we can get out of the car. I think there's a lot more pace in the car. Just we had to run kind of crazy lines because of the oil patches that were dumped. They were all on the original racing line, so if hopefully a few more cars can clean them up for us, we're back to the quick racing line. We might try a set of tyres and see if we can see how close we can get to the lap record. I don't think we'll get it. It's a 50.7, and quickest I've ever been here was in testing last December in a 52.7 or something, but it's miles away. But look, we'll go looking for it anyway. Why not?
Awesome stuff. Well, brilliant, and congratulations on the race victory.
Yeah, thanks a million. Appreciate it, and great to have you guys over here as well. You're always very welcome, and if we can get a few more UK drivers over here to sample Formula Boss Ireland, they're by all means are more than welcome. It's a friendly class. There's no contact, no banging, but racing is firm, but it's fair. That's how we work, and friendly. Firm, fair, friendly.
Great, well done. Cheers.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Thanks, Andy.